Hi, Virgo. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for October of 2021. We're the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
And I'm Julia Mijas in San Francisco.
Well, Virgo, if this is your sun sign and you missed your annual birthday reading this year, it is not too late to benefit from a solar return reading. There's still time to hit the ground running in your new year and find out what are the themes of this year and how you can align with them the most powerfully. You'll find a link for getting a birthday reading in the YouTube description below. Well, Julia, I think you've got some news for the Virgos of the world about Venus to begin with, and then that Mercury retrograde that's going on.
Oh, yes, I do. Well, hey there, Virgo. I'll begin with Venus. That's the planet of art, beauty, and relationships. And she begins the month and spends the first week of the month in your third house. This is the house of siblings. It rules your neighborhood and local community, and it's the house of communication. So with Venus in this house, it's a really good time if you need to negotiate with somebody else because you're a lot more diplomatic with your words and you can sort of smooth over any kind of conflict now. And if you have any brothers and sisters, you guys will just be enjoying each other, which is really, really nice. And it's a good time to get along with your neighbors too. Then on October 7th, Venus moves into your fourth house of family and home, where she's going to stay the rest of the month. This is a wonderful transit to do things to kind of make your home more beautiful. If you want to paint a room, if you have some other housing project, great time for that. It's also a wonderful time to get along well with the people you live with and get along well with your parents and family. So really enjoy that. Now I'll move on to Mercury, the planet of communication and mentation, which begins the month retrograde in your second house. The second house is the house of possessions. It's the house of values, also the house of your money. So with Mercury retrograde here, you might have to redo, rethink, replan something around your finances or around your possessions. It might be that maybe you need to kind of go over your accounting, your personal accounting a little bit more. Maybe something's not quite adding up, but a lot of rethinking in terms of money about how you're sort of doing things now. Then on October 9th, Mercury is going to conjoin the sun very, very tightly. We call that Lesser Epiphany Day. And it's a very important day to keep in mind because this is a time where you could have a revelation about your money and possessions with all this rethinking and redoing. So definitely be aware of that. Then by October 18th, Mercury will finally go direct. And over the next week, it'll slowly come out of its shadow period, meaning that all these kind of miscommunications and redoing things, especially around finances, will finally kind of clear up. Then the last planet I want to talk about is Mars, who's going to be spending the majority of the month in your second house too. On October 30th, he moves into your third house, but since that transit is mainly happening next month, we'll definitely tell you more about it in our next video, so stay tuned for that. But with Mars in the second, there could be some challenges, frustrations over money as well, especially if you're rethinking any kind of financial strategy or financial plan that you had. This is not a great month for asking your boss for a raise or expanding business with Mercury retrograde in there and Mars in there too. And you might have to deal with sort of like some flare-ups and frustrations about your possessions and stuff. However, a positive side of this transit is you could feel very, very driven to create more money for yourself. But it's, I think, more of a time of planning and rethinking than actual action right now.
Well, there are two moons this month, as usual, a new moon followed by a full moon. And these moons have something in common with each other. One is that both moons feature Mars activity. The other is that both moons feature the Libra Aries axis, which means they involve your second and eighth houses, both of which are considered to be financial realms in astrology. The second house being your own money and how you manage it, how you save it, how you earn it, what you do with it, how you spend it. And then the eighth house, which is ways that your money intersects with and maybe pools with money of other individuals or entities, such as a marital partner, a business partner, or investments that you make, or taxes and insurance. So this is absolutely an axis of houses that has a lot to do with finance. And these moons are pretty, as Julia would say, feisty. There's a lot of vigor and drive and energy towards these subjects, but also a bit of fierceness and really a little bit of combative nature to these moons as well. The first one we're calling Making Peace with Adversaries. And that's because this moon on October 6th is a new moon with the sun and moon together in Libra in your second house, which sounds just fine. The moon loves to be in the second house. It can stabilize emotions when the moon is in the second house, but throw Mars into it, and suddenly you've got some pretty hot-headed emotions and opinions going on. And then add the fact that Chiron is occupying Aries, Mars's warrior sign, and is here opposite to that sun and moon. Just kind of, says you might be spoiling a fight for a fight with your with any financial partners in your life. You might see your financial partner as a wounded figure in your own mind. It's possible that they're not conscious of that in and of themselves. It's possible that they see you that way. And this doesn't have to be, a bloodbath, not literally, metaphorically, obviously. It can instead be, where you show up and you negotiate strongly. And that's also the topic of the second moon. Before I stray from this first moon, I do want to say that this moon is complex with a lot of moving parts, but some of them are harmonious. There's a beautiful sextile that Demeter, no, that Ceres has a trine with this moon, but it's Juno has a sextile with it. And that brings a lot of harmony. And knowing that this is landing for you in the financial arena is that's the knowledge you need to arm yourself with when you go to watch the video that we made all about this moon on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, in the October 2021 news playlist. Just be aware, this is going to play out in your finances and in your shared finances. So try not to meet up with anybody you owe money to.
Ooh.
They might demand it. So the second moon kind of continues some of these same themes of, a sort of an adversarial quality and possibly having to assert yourself. The second moon we're calling Negotiate Strongly, Then Let Go. Mars, of course, is famous for bringing in clarity on what you want. This being in the second house, it might be clarity on possessions that you want or what you want to do with your possessions, or it might have something to do with your literal physical body and its safety and security. But either way, the full moon being over in the 8th house could bring a lot of emotion to those, places where you interface with others financially. So to, again, the realms of debt, and credit, the realms of shared finances that you might have with a spouse or a business partner. So it's the square to Pluto that really makes this moon pop in terms of the qualities of power and control that might surge up during this moon. So it is important to negotiate strongly during this moon because of Mars's involvement. But it's also important to know when to stop pushing and to just allow the thing to follow through and happen. Because with Pluto being involved here, there's just so much room for power and control games. And that's where things really get messy, and they don't have to. They just don't have to go there. So you can find out about that moon also in our November 2021 news playlist on YouTube. The last thing I want to tell you about is the seasonal change, which comes on October 22nd when the sun leaves Libra and moves into Scorpio. Scorpio is the sign of the killing season, the butchering season, when the animals are culled, the herds are culled, and the meat is cured and salted and frozen and put away for the winter. That's the traditional agricultural cycle. And so this is a season of increasing darkness, of death, loss, grieving, letting go. And when we go into it ready to release, this can be a really deeply empowering season. When we go into this season wanting to hold on to what our puny small will desires without consulting our great will, well, that's a recipe for pain. Consulting your great will first is a recipe for success in the season of Scorpio. This season lights up your third house of communication. And so be prepared for communication to be the arena in which you see your own darkness reflected. And if you follow through with that, ready to clean up your communication, then this season will be the most empowering for you, Virgo. Well, that ended on an intense note. Hope you enjoyed this horoscope, Virgo. And if you did, please be sure to share it widely and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, check out our website, pandoraastrology.com, where you can find your rising signs horoscope or your sun sign horoscope if this is your rising sign. And you can also, on our website, you can find access to readings and classes as well. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye-bye.
Bye.